First, let me quickly tell you that all of these images were taken on auto mode using their stock camera applications. This not only makes things fair, but also, as far as I know, most of the average users never uses the pro mode. If you want, of course, you can use the pro mode and try to switch between options to get a pro shot of your choice. But that doesn't depict the original pros and cons of the smartphones. Also, I wanna mention that AI was left enabled on Xiaomi Mi 10T Pro and Scene Optimizer was also enabled on Samsung S20 FE. This allows these smartphones to get the best out of their own computational photography and processing. What's up everyone? Welcome to another camera comparison. This is Han and today I am going to do a camera comparison between the Xiaomi Mi 10T Pro and Samsung S20 FE. I have tried to cover almost all the different conditions, but outside it's very cold. So that's the reason I am recording this front camera or selfie camera video inside my studio. Price wise, these two are about the same. Yeah, in some different regions Xiaomi Mi 10T Pro may be a bit higher, but they pack a lot of different features for different group of people. Also, both of these two offers a very good value for money depending on which region or which country you live in. Okay, let me know which smartphone video looks better, which one reproduced sound better. Okay, I have one announcement and yeah, if you don't know yet, then there is one international smartphone giveaway going on for the subscribers of this channel. What you have to do is to subscribe to this channel and make a true and valid comment. Okay, at the end, if you find this video helpful, then please don't forget to click on the like button. Usually we don't start a camera comparison with indoor low light photos, but as I have found that there is a drastic difference in performance, I wanted to share these photos with you. Straightforward, we don't even need to crop in to see that there are differences in white balance, color grading, contrast ratio and brightness. Before you start judging, color grading is very close to reality on Xiaomi Mi 10T Pro. Yeah, there is a difference in white balance. Mi 10T Pro sometimes produced images with a bit warm color tone, but it's nothing drastic, and you wouldn't even notice it if you do not compare side by side. Also, there is another issue, like almost all other Xiaomi and Redmi smartphones, Xiaomi Mi 10T Pro failed to detect well-lit areas, failed to manage contrast ratio, and that leads to underexposed photos. Samsung Galaxy S20 FE does offer brighter and punchier images, but the whole image looks a bit soft. Mi 10T Pro image seems to have tad bit more details and textures. I am not nitpicking, things are almost visible at a glance. But if you really want to do some pixel peeping, then okay, here you can see the drastic difference in details, textures and sharpness. You can also see the Dracula style teeth of Samara the model. As we all know and as you would expect, both of these do a great job in good lighting. Actually, almost all the flagship smartphones does the same under bright daylight. Yes, as I have mentioned earlier, it's winter and dynamic range from the nature has gone. It's hard to find blue sky. Anyway, after checking tons of photos taken by Xiaomi Mi 10T Pro and S20 FE, I have found that there are a few differences. Obviously, the first difference you'd notice is white balance and exposure. However, the main difference is in details and sharpness. Yeah, Mi 10T Pro with pixel binning and better texture processing got more details and the whole image looks sharper. Also, if you check carefully, you can see that there is some kind of tint on pictures produced by S20 FE. You may have also noticed that the background got a bit blurry on the images taken with Xiaomi Mi 10T Pro. It's mainly due to two factors, bigger sensor size and slightly longer focal length. Time for bokeh photos, same time, same place, and not much of a difference in performance. Anyway, it's like any other camera comparison, this will be a preference thing for sure. It depends on what you prefer. I think Mi 10T Pro portrait photos are more realistic and true to life. But if you would prefer to have brighter skin tone along with increased highlights, then you'd like the live focus photos of S20 FE. Although there is a 3x telephoto lens on Samsung S20 FE, I have failed to find the option to use that telephoto lens for portrait photos. It uses the main sensor for the portrait photos, which is a bummer. I care about bokeh effect, edge detection, amount of textures processed in the subject, and the separation line blend. After checking a lot of portrait photos, it is clear that both retain the same white balance like the main sensor photos. Bokeh effect is also very similar. Surprisingly, white balance and saturation actually jumps back and forth between these two. In general, Mi 10T Pro slightly saturates the color and white balance is a bit cool. Actually, there is no general rule of thumb about this white balance and saturation, as these changes based on lighting condition and environment. In terms of edge detection, both did fairly well, but once again Mi 10T Pro is better. Dynamic range and shadows are similar, very difficult to judge, but my vote goes to Mi 10T Pro as it managed to reproduce better skin tone with better color rendition and processed more textures. This is really crazy how ultra-wide photos of these two smartphones differs in different lighting condition. First, let's talk about daytime ultra-wide shots, and I was really confused cause they have very identical performance in ultra-wide photos. Of course, I am overwhelmed that both performs like a flagship, but yeah, not like super flagships. Galaxy S20 FE continued to produce images with cool color temperature, but occasionally it takes a wrong turn and generates warm tone. However, that's not a trend. Xiaomi Mi 10T Pro with warm color temperature and higher midtones may seem like a bit saturated beside the images of S20 FE, but I can tell you, that's what portrays reality. Not only that, in terms of details and sharpness, Mi 10T Pro is well ahead with its bigger sensor, but as I have mentioned earlier, they perform differently under different lighting condition. These are nighttime ultra-wide photos under true darkness in a very harsh lighting condition. And without any hesitation, I can say that Samsung S20 FE is way better than Mi 10T Pro. If you have watched my other camera comparison videos, then you may already know that almost all the Xiaomi smartphones failed to reproduce correct color under sodium street light. Yeah, S20 FE picked the color correctly, and not only that, the whole image is sharper with more details. Now, the truth is, none of these images are as good as other flagships. These images are full of noise and grains, and beside Xiaomi Mi 10 Ultra, Google Pixel 5 or iPhone 12, these images looks below par. Yes, you guessed it correctly. These are main sensor night mode photos, and Samsung S20 FE continued to produce better images. Color grading of Mi 10T Pro main sensor photos are better than those ultra-wide photos, but still, in terms of details, sharpness and texture processing, S20 Fan Edition is far ahead. S20 FE and Mi 10T Pro both managed to keep the noise and grains as low as possible with good post-processing. However, S20 Fan Edition managed to increase exposure without washing out the subject. Yeah, background looks a bit better on Xiaomi Mi 10T Pro, and as I always say, a lot depends on personal preference. Do you want true to life sky color rendition, or do you like a bit exposed overall brighter image? If you want my opinion, then I am tend to go for S20 FE as it produces night mode photos with more details and less grains. What do you think? Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comment section. I am disappointed. I'm not sure what actually gone wrong, but 3x optical zoom images of S20 FE is not as good as it should be. Rather, Mi 10T Pro truly utilized its larger sensor of 108 megapixel, and even after digital cropping it looks sharper than S20 FE images. Make no mistake, actually S20 FE grabbed more details and textures, but it seems like post-processing gone wrong and there is some kind of smoothing effect. I think we need to wait and do a detailed comparison on this, cause I truly believe with another update this will get better on S20 FE. Okay, it's time for selfie and selfie portrait, and I'm not going to describe the differences between these photos cause there is an international smartphone giveaway going on for subscribers. I would choose someone based on valid and descriptive comments. Why don't you try to differentiate between these selfie pictures and make a comment? These video clips were recorded at 4K 30 frames per second. Both of these two smartphones got OIS on main sensor and I can see very good stabilization. Color grading is similar, very punchy colors without much of a saturation. but white balance is totally different, and exposure on both is not as good as other flagships. Okay, these videos were recorded at 1080p 30 frames per second, and this is my most favorite mode for video recording. As mentioned earlier, both got OIS, and that along with EIS offers great stabilization on both of the smartphones. Xiaomi Mi 20 Pro goes a bit saturated and color temperature is warm. In terms of details, sharpness and color rendition, I would again choose Mi 20 Pro. Okay, it's time to wrap up, and the truth is I think Mi 20 Pro actually did better. Yes, Samsung S20 FE did great, but I would choose Xiaomi Mi 20 Pro. Okay, I would like to know what do you think. Please leave a comment and let us all know what do you think.